Welcome to GripeCast with your host, Alex Hernandez. This show is dedicated to consumer technology news and pop culture. GripeCast is owned by Techaeris. Visit Techaeris.com for the latest tech reviews, news, entertainment, and pop culture. Now sit tight, the show's about to begin. All right, welcome to the least listened to podcast on the intranet, GripeCast. This is episode 9, Thursday, May 2nd. I know that I mentioned in yesterday's podcast that I might do another podcast. I wasn't sure. Heading on vacation soon. My son's birthday's tomorrow. Got a lot going on, and I could potentially am heading back into the workforce. Well, I'm already in the workforce, but potentially getting a job doing other things for a company. Things are looking good on that front, so let's appreciate your thoughts and prayers on that. But today, this morning, I ran across a post on X from HouseFresh.com. If you're not familiar with HouseFresh.com, they are on one of my other podcasts where we discuss, they're part of the reason I started GripeCast, because they're in the same boat as we are. So I decided to start this podcast, and we did feature one of their articles, and it was entitled "How Google is Killing Independent Sites Like Ours," and we went over that very briefly. And all credit to them for that one. But this morning, I woke up and doing my typical morning routine, drinking coffee, going through emails, going through social media, checking stats and analytics and all that other stuff, which are not looking good lately. Ran across HouseFresh.com this morning, writing a new article from them entitled HouseFresh has virtually disappeared from Google search results. Now what? Written by Giselle Navarro, as well as the previous article was written by Giselle. And to be honest with you, I hadn't heard of HouseFresh.com ever until 2 months ago when they wrote this article, and when a lot of independent publishers were getting hurt and hit and talking about this situation with Google search and the algorithms. So I wanted to just go over this article really quickly. I read 70% of it, 60-70% of it, and kind of skimmed the rest of it. Most of it is, a lot of the information here is already stuff that I know or I'm aware of, so it was fairly easy to skim. But I do encourage you guys to go through this article, read the thing, read it in its entirety, especially those of you who are not publishers. And this podcast is for my audience. This is for you guys who are not in this industry. You don't know what happens behind the scenes. You don't know a whole lot about publishing. You might have some ideas, but the realities are better known to us, and I just want to pass that along to my audience. Great if other publishers are listening to this podcast. Awesome, especially if you're an independent publisher. We got to support each other. At any rate, I wanted to go over this article, just kind of skim through it with you, and just kind of comment and offer some. Expand on it a little bit and explain it a little bit if you're having trouble with some of the verbiage or ideas in it. So let's just jump right into that. I'm starting this podcast pretty quickly and just getting on with it. But this is all we're focusing on today, is this and what's happening. I did want to mention Cinco De Mayo. Cinco de Mayo is coming up, and this is an important date for Google, and it's an important date for publishers. It's the day that Google's rolling out their site abuse action, I guess you can call it. So we'll go into that a little bit later as we get through this article here. But if you're wondering why this podcast is entitled or has some sort of reference to Cinco de Mayo, it's not because I'm celebrating Cinco de Mayo, though my family heritage is partially Mexican and my other half is Spanish from Spain. But no, we don't celebrate Cinco de Mayo. I celebrate Independence Day because I live in the States. I'm born in the States. I'm a United States citizen. So Cinco de Mayo is just another day to me. So there's no significance in the title for my heritage. It's more the day that Google is bringing down the hammer that you may not be aware of. So let's jump right into HouseFresh here. She says, 2 months ago, we sounded the alarm about independent publishers being demoted on Google to give way to big media sites. This is what happened next. So in February 2024, they published the article, which we already referenced, and I'm going to link to everything down in the show notes, how Google is killing an independent sites like ours. She wrote that back in May 1st, written by Giselle Navarro and Danny Ashton of HouseFresh.com. We published an article warning readers not to trust product recommendations from well-known newspapers and magazines ranking at the top of Google search results. All right, so she goes, in these 2 months, I have talked to air purifier manufacturers, HouseFresh readers, other independent publishers, Meredith employees, well-known activists, tech journalists, Redditors, SEO professionals, and even Google employees. Today, I want to share some things I've learned and some things that happened after publishing that article. I'll take you through the tactics big media publishers use to outrank independent sites online. I'll also cover what Google has done since we published our expose and what they've announced they're going to do. Lastly, I'll share what happened to HouseFresh over the last 2 months. It's not looking good for us. And we're in the same boat, so I feel your pain, Giselle. Meredith allegedly developed an SEO content strategy called swarming to out-publish independent sites. So first things first, Meredith is a public, a very large publisher. Now, they don't publish under the name Meredith. They own a bevy of other sites that they publish, including sites like People, and a few others. I can't remember them all. I looked them up, but they own a significant number of online publications, and Meredith is simply their corporate name, the name that is over the rest of the magazines that they own. So Giselle goes on to say, within a few days of publishing the David versus Digital Goliaths expose, I received an anonymous tip from a former Meredith employee who informed me of an SEO content strategy they implement called keyword swarming. Though this strategy, Meredith identifies small sites that have cemented themselves in Google results for a specific and valuable term or in a specific topic with the goal of pushing them down the rankings by publishing vast amounts of content of their own. And just for reference, the Meredith is difficult to say consistently, so I'm just going to refer to them as DM from going forward here. So just know that DM means Meredith. What Giselle is saying here is DM has developed a keyword strategy. And if you're not familiar with what keywords are what we as publishers put in the back end of our websites. A lot of websites are built on WordPress, but there's Drupal and there's other platforms you can build websites on. But all of them have some sort of keyword SEO component to them. And when you put a keyword in, it tells Google and any other search engine that's crawling your site, this is what this content's about, and this is the keyword or keywords that you are trying to rank on, and it takes that into consideration. So, for example, let's say I always go back to my Samsung reviews. I do a lot of TV reviews, and the Samsung S95D is one of the last ones I did. And let's say we take that keyword and we put Samsung S95D review, or however I put it in there. I can't recall how I put it in there, but other big publishers, they can see that. Oh, okay. Let me back up for a second. They have a better ability to see the rankings and positioning and the keywords of other websites, because they have the cache to be able to use the tools that allow them to do that. There's tools like SEMrush, Ahrefs, SimilarWeb. A lot of these tools offer free. You can do certain things to a certain point with them for free, but then after that you have to pay to dig deeper. And what these tools do is they analyze other websites, and they analyze. You're able to see what they're ranking for, what their position is in the search engines, not only Google but Bing and everywhere else. So a lot of these big publishers, they have the money to use all of these tools, and they use them to find keywords that other sites are ranking for, and then they create content around those keywords to push that site down and take over those keywords. It's not illegal. It's not against the rules. So we'll be perfectly clear on that. That is part of the game. But what Giselle writes about here is the keyword swarming. It's very specific. So they're doing this intentionally, and they're creating content of their own. In multiple pieces of content. It's not just like they're creating a S95D review. Well, they'll create a article on, the reliability of S95D, and another one about the performance. So they'll create 10 articles and use the keywords that we used to try to push us down and gain that traffic that we would have had they not created that content. I'm not saying DM has done this to us. This is just an example of what larger publishers do to gain, to take traffic and grab traffic to their sites. What the point of this is that what DM is doing, while not illegal, not against the rules, is not helpful, because they are producing content that doesn't help the user or the audience. It's strictly made to rank in the search engine and grab advertising dollars and link clicks. So that's what they're doing. And according to this former DM employee, they've labeled it keyword swarming. So Giselle goes on to say, she explains keyword swarming, which I just did. It's just swarming is about drowning out a competitor. So that's basically what they do. They swarm that keyword and produce multiple pieces of content. That explains, she writes, that explains why you'll find multiple articles published on sites belonging to DM ranking at the top of Google like this. And again, please click the links down below. Go to HouseFresh. She gives a screenshot, and it gives you several examples of the keywords that they rank for on multiple in multiple places from different magazines that they own. Is DM to blame for choosing to swarm Google search results by leveraging their network of websites and their machine to create content at scale? Personally, I think it's not great for the internet, but I understand the leadership at DM is focusing on making money for IAC shareholders. So, Giselle, just like I just said, it's not against the rules. It's not, they're not doing anything that's not approved by Google, but they are, is it healthy for the web? Is it healthy for the user? Is it helpful content? No, I would say no. Disagree with that. It's not helpful, and it's just designed to drive traffic. And I don't think that's when you're producing that kind of content just to drive the traffic is not helpful for the audience. But then she goes on, and she doesn't want to pick on DM because she says that's not a crusade against DM, and I get that, and hopefully people will understand that we're not attacking these large publishers, but we're attacking not what I want to say, we're not even attacking, but we're pointing out the issues that are in place and why Google is broken. She goes on to cite Forbes. Forbes is a big money magazine, a financial magazine, and if you didn't know better, you would think that their main focus was finances and how to manage finances and business and news information, business articles, financial business articles, those type of things. But Forbes also covers things like puppies and cats, and they do that to get affiliate commissions. So and she has screenshots here again, where you just do a search on puppies and use the site Forbes.com so that you can return in Google just that site. So you're essentially what site does is search only a specific site that you want for a keyword. So you can go into Google and type in puppies and then space and then site Forbes.com, and it'll return only information and data from Forbes concerning that word puppies. And she came back with a whole lot of hits on puppies, and all of these are pointing to she writes, if you pay attention to the URLs of the articles, you might notice that the majority of them sit inside Forbes.com/advisors/pet insurance, which is the space where Forbes publishes their pet insurance affiliate content. So that is pointing to, they're disguising this content as being helpful to the user, only to push users to purchases, to affiliate linking, to that type of stuff. So all the big sites do this, and they've been doing it for a while. And you can go, like I said, go back and read all of this. Her next section here talks about trusted publications being flipped by SEO-minded people with a taste for affiliate money. This happens all too often. Her first example is Deadspin. Deadspin was just sold to a ghost digital media company, and now they do gambling. They're referring traffic from Deadspin to gambling sites now, casino sites. So the people that bought Deadspin are using Deadspin's site authority and name recognition as a platform to push people into their core business, which is gambling and casinos. It's an investment to them. They see the value of the name and they buy the site. They kind of leave it the same and kind of put some content on it that is relevant to what it used to cover, but it's not super helpful. It's usually AI written now and filled with links to casinos and gambling sites that they own. Another example is Money. I'm familiar with Money Magazine. I remember seeing those on the newsstands back in the 80s. And she writes, for example, if I mention Money, you might think of a magazine you could find at a newsstand since 1972. But what if I told you that the physical production of its magazine stopped in 2019? The Money brand is now owned by Ad Practitioners LLC, rebranded as Money Group, a company that profits from affiliate links and has developed an ad network. So Money Group owns an ad network. And this is what they do with the Money magazine. They're continuing to write content on money, but it's not generally helpful content. It's designed to push you to affiliate links. And that's what these do. I mean, the reason I know this is true is because I'd say the past at least 5 years, I have had offer after offer to purchase Techaeris. And they want to purchase the site and the brand because they saw value in it. They saw that the name was searched, we ranked, and it's a way for them to keep all of the branding, keep all of the look of the site, what people are used to, because most people won't know that there's something else going on in the background. They're going to think we may have made an announcement, or we may have put a press release out, or I may have gone on social media and say, hey, I'm selling Techaeris, and whatever. They wouldn't tell me what they're going to use the site for, so I wouldn't know. But most people would just assume it's either going to change completely or it's going to remain the same. And if they keep it the same, they'll continue to write articles and put stuff out, and most of it would be unhelpful, and they would use it for affiliate linking exclusively and pushing people to their core business. And that's what they've done with money, and they've done with Deadspin. So she goes on to write, in an interview with Axios, one of the owners of Ad Practitioners LLC said that money was hemorrhaging cash before the acquisition, and explained how it's now thriving. So she has a quote in here from Sarah Fisher. I'll just read that. It says, Powell, a former Google executive, saw an opportunity to rebuild Money's editorial. That's funny. I'm sorry, I'm stopping right there. Whoever Powell is a former Google executive. If you look at that, a former Google executive saw an opportunity to rebuild Money's editorial strategy around intent-based personal finance content that typically surfaced from search results instead of clickbait business stories about celebrities and their wealth. Big digital media companies like DM and Red Ventures rely on similar strategy. So Red Ventures is another big published publication that actually owns some tech sites. And Giselle goes on to say, in true Phoenix Rising from the Ashes style, Ad Practitioners LLC leveraged the public's trust in the Money brand, its high authority domain, and long-standing history as a finance publication to sell air purifiers. And then she screenshots a air purifier pros and cons review on Money magazine. I mean, like, who goes to Money magazine for air purifiers, right? And then she has another screenshot with company reviews for home, and it shows all sorts of other things, garbage disposals, vacuums, just a whole bunch of stuff that who goes to Money magazine for this? Generally no one, but now because of their domain authority, because of their well-recognized name, they will rank. So her next section goes into how media sites are laying off journalists and partnering with marketing agencies that use AI to write commerce content. So, and that's completely true. I'm not going to really go into depth about that portion. Just know that, writers and content writers on some of these big sites are being laid off, and they're pivoting to this e-commerce kind of thing where they're making money on affiliate linking and commerce sites. What I really wanted to get to is the Google set deadline for big media sites. This is Cinco de Mayo. Cinco de Mayo is on Sunday, and Cinco de Mayo is going to drop the site reputation abuse spam policy from Google, and that we're waiting for that to see who's going to be affected by that. But the big publishers already know this is coming because Google has warned everybody, and they're taking action. And most specifically, Giselle points out Forbes is redirecting its traffic to a lot of its pages to try to avoid this potential problem. So she gives a nice little 4 bullet point recap of this deadline. She subheadlines it, how the site reputation abuse spam policy could affect big media sites and what they're doing to prepare for Google's deadline. Point 1, digital media conglomerates are developing SEO content strategies designed to outpublish high-ranking specialist independent publishers. Point 2, legacy media brands are building in-house SEO content teams that tie content creation to affiliate marketing, revenue, and topics that have nothing to do with their original areas of expertise. Point 3, newly created digital media companies are buying once successful and influential blogs with the goal of driving traffic to casino sites, gambling sites, and affiliate. I added those last few in there. Point 4, private equity firms are partnering with companies like Advon to publish large amounts of AI-generated content edited by SEO-focused people across the portfolio of media brands. And here's the worst part. Google's algorithm encourages all of them to rinse and repeat the same strategies by allowing their websites to rank in top positions for SEO-fueled articles about any topic imaginable, even in cases when the articles have been written by AI and published under fake authors. But Google set a deadline for big media sites to stop spamming the web May 5th, Cinco de Mayo. In early May 2024, Google announced the update to its spam policies, which included a point about site reputation abuse aimed at sites publishing pages with the purpose of manipulating search rankings by taking advantage of the site's ranking signals, which is their authority, basically their domain authority. It goes on. She goes on, shows screenshots of the site reputation abuse policy. And then she shows a few points that she takes issue with. Again, go through and read that. She goes on to talk about how HouseFresh has lost 91% of its search traffic to its site, organic search traffic, and I'm right there with them. We've lost a ton of traffic as well, organic search traffic. We still have our normie traffic, our regular users, which we very much appreciate you guys coming back and reading our stuff, not finding us through Google, but bookmarking us and keeping us right there on your desktop or browser, wherever you have us marked. We appreciate you guys highly. But she goes on to talk about more of how this has all affected HouseFresh, and I really encourage you again. Everything's down in the show notes, and she talks about the future of HouseFresh. Read this entire article. It's very, very lengthy, but well worth your time to read it. I just wanted to go over it and kind of just give my perspective and talk about it just a little bit. I should be writing right now, but and actually this is my second go on this podcast. My first go on this podcast, I played it back and the audio was completely messed up, so I had to re-record it. So here I am. But I did want to mention one other thing. In my previous podcast, I did mention we talked about AI Bros, Google Search, and Reddit, Quora, and Google's deal with Reddit and how Reddit results are at the top now. And I made mention, and there's some comments online about Reddit being not a place for expert opinions. And I had a friend of mine reach out to me, whom I talk to on a regular basis online, and he kind of wanted to push back a little bit on that point, saying that he doesn't believe that there's no value in Reddit. I'm not reading exactly his words. I'm not going to read his DM to me, but the gist of it was that he does not. He thinks that there's valuable information within Reddit, and that that our assumptions are wrong. That there are no experts on Reddit, because the reasons he gave were, before we had regular review sites, before we had things like HouseFresh or Techaeris, we had message boards, and people often posted their experiences with products or whatever you were looking at. And I remember those days. I remember someone coming in and saying, "Oh, I just got a new car, this whatever car it was, and I've had this problem and that problem," and then so I had that same car and this is what I did to fix it, and so I get that, and I'll concede and agree with you that there is value within Reddit, but I will also push back and say, unfortunately, it's gotten to a point where finding that value is harder than it's ever been, because a lot of what you find on Reddit is it is toxic, for lack of a better term. And I also believe that it's harder to trust a user that is behind a fake name and a fake avatar, not knowing who they are, and I think there's more value in people who have a reputation, a brand, and are that expose themselves in public, who know, you know their name, you know who I am, you know the brand, you know who Techaeris is. There's value in that. I think there's a responsibility that we as reviewers take when we step out and we show our faces and make our voices heard, and we don't hide behind. I don't hide behind my hawk. You know, my logo is a hawk. The name is Techaeris. I don't hide behind that, and I'm very much on social media. I'm very much on the internet. You can find me, and you know who I am. But that said, I do agree that there are sometimes helpful things on Reddit that you can find. It's just sifting through them to find them is sometimes can be difficult. But I will also agree, and based on what I read today, what we read today, this also, my point prior also is applies to the internet as we see it, publishers as we see it now, because now you guys are having to get through this unhelpful content that sites like Forbes and the people at DM are publishing. They're publishing crap and unhelpful content that hurts you guys, and you guys are having to deal with that. And, you know, I apologize for that. It's, you know, obviously not my fault. We try to do our best to be as accurate and straightforward as we can with our reviews, and we do everything right as we can and within the rules and boundaries that are set forth on us. And it's unfortunate that the internet's becoming exactly what Reddit is. We're in a position where you really need to dig through any information you find online with a fine-tooth comb before you commit to anything. And I always say, especially in my reviews, you know, read other reviews. Don't just read mine. Go find other sources. You can. I would never base a decision that I make on one single review. I've gone through when I make a purchasing decision. I usually go through. It depends on what it is, but I'll go through 5 to 10 different reviews, and I will pour through YouTube videos and other content to see feedback and gather that data, and then make a choice and make a decision. So anyway, the Bone Writer, he's my guy that sent me that pushback. Appreciate you shouting him out. I will link him down below. His Substack is the Bone Writer. He doesn't do a whole lot of tech stuff. He's more of a creative content writer, short stories and other bits and pieces like that. A lot of rants too. So check him out. I'll link him down, his Substack down below, the Bone Writer. Check him out. Real solid guy in real life, and we chat quite a bit. Anyway, I am going long on this podcast. It's actually a little bit longer than the first podcast that got screwed up with the audio. But I just wanted to say thank you guys. I am out for a little bit. I'm going to try to figure out how to do a podcast while I'm on vacation, but I may not be able to. We'll see. Just keep an eye out. I'll post on social media whether or not I can. I'll post on Substack for sure on a note. If I can't, post the podcast. If I can, great. But yeah, you guys enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Thanks for listening. Have a great Friday. Enjoy your weekend. Be blessed. Take care of each other. Be kind. And we will talk to you on the other side.